Welcome back to another episode of Tech Talks. I have Heather Krasinski on again, which I'm really excited about. If you didn't watch our last video, I'll leave the link in the bio below. But right now, our focus for this month is customer experience. And we're really diving into what that means for organizations. How can you enhance it? And what can you be doing differently? What are you doing that's great? And now let's have a conversation about technology. So with that being said, first vertical, I should say, is retail.
I love retail. I love it. It's a fantastic vertical. And I think I got into it the last time we talked, but I am a shopper. I am a Leo. I am a shopper. I am a money spender. I think that's why millennials can't afford to buy homes these days, because we're sitting here buying and spending money on all these clothes and shoes. And I don't
And we're
mind.
helping companies do it.
And you know what? I'm helping companies grow.
Yes.
So that's what I'll tell people next time they ask me that. I love the retail space. I think the retail space has grown a lot in the past, 3 to 5 years, right? We went through the pandemic and retail companies really had to shift operations, right? Like curbside pickup, outside store pickup, right? Like no contact delivery, things like that from a retail side that we saw really shift. But here at Tech Talks, we like to keep things in three. And so the three key pieces that, I really want to dive into today around the retail piece is number one, voice of the customer and brand loyalty. So how do brands keep their customers loyal to keep coming back, right? What is the customer experience behind that? Mm-hmm. Two, really focusing on the different channels that are being accessed and the different ways that we can access different channels like chat, email, SMS, WhatsApp, going on companies' websites. And then also too, from that, how is AI being able to deflect interactions there? And then the third one also being from a perspective of revenue growth. So how do we grow revenue? How does the business grow revenue? And really look at from an agent side, how are these agents upselling and cross-selling? How are they getting people like me who are easily targeted when they send out a push notification that there's a sale? How are they going to sell to me? How are they going to get me to come on the website and buy some stuff? So let's dive into the first one. I think really focusing on brand loyalty. I'd love to hear your thoughts, Ashley, and then I'll jump in too.
Awesome. No, and I think it's good. And I love that we keep it in threes because I feel like it breaks it down into simpler terms, but each one there's so much depth to each side of things. So especially with voice of customer, I mean, it's huge. You look at it from an in-store experience. You look at it from an online experience. You look at it from even a social media experience because, even being on these digital channels, it's a lot different of a conversation because that's where your brand awareness sometimes is coming. If you've ever seen, this is a little millennial side of things, but if you've ever seen, on Twitter, how do you get a brand's attention? Well, what do? Is you post a video about your negative experience and then everybody tags them and then they get that recognition, and so you're really right now is building your brand off of so many different channels. It's such an interesting time because how can you create a true brand that's going to drive that revenue, but how are you going to create that brand loyalty, which in turn is also revenue? You want to create a brand that customers are wanting to keep coming back to. And so like at the end of the day, it's how do you do that? And I think you have to look at it at perspective. And so Heather, what would you say though in that terms? I was like, how do you actually create that brand? How do you be the person that everybody wants to go back to at the end of the day?
Yeah. Again, it comes down to the solid customer experience. So from a brand perspective, we look at it in the sense of during COVID, right? When you couldn't find toilet paper, you were scrounging all around, you were going to Target didn't have toilet paper, you went to Costco didn't have toilet paper, but your local gas station did. So you continued to go to that local gas station to get toilet paper because not only was it available, but it was convenient and, you could get what you needed. And so obviously that's like the extreme of it. But in reality, the brand loyalty comes down to how convenient it is to interact with that brand, how personalized it is to interact with that brand, and from the experience, whether it's the agent experience, the customer experience, and the total experience altogether, right? What was it from start to finish? And how great was it, right? If I have a good lasting impression from a brand, what's the term or the stat, 86% of people will leave a brand after 2 bad experiences. I always say this, but I'm like, that's after 1 bad experience. And so if I have 1 bad experience with a brand, I'm probably not going to go back to them. And so really focusing on the brand to get the voice of the customer. What are customers saying online, right? Social listening, like we said. What are they saying on the phones? What are they saying on chat, email, WhatsApp, SMS, wherever and whatever channel they're saying it on? What is the feedback from products released? What's the feedback from experience altogether is going to be huge. And then building the brand loyalty based off of how convenient and amazing that experience was. I think about all the brands I love, and all of them, down, hands down, have a convenient experience, have a personalized experience to me. They know me as a consumer. They've done their research, and they make me feel special because I'm a part of that brand. And so it's kind of like, a rom-com movie or cliche, but it's making that customer really feel special to interact with that brand. And we're not doing it just by, one-off purchases and whatever. They're doing it by staying in front, whether they're sending emails, right? Those push notifications, making sure they know that I know that there's a sale going on, right? But it also comes down to the experience that they have in store. And so I think now we go to our second point, really, of the different channels and the different avenues that I can interact with my brands on. And so focusing on in-store, right? What is the in-store experience? Because the in-store people, those are your front lines. Those are the people on the front lines that you interact with. Once you get in store, if you have a bad interaction in store, obviously the Karen is going to come and say, I need to speak to your manager. Us millennials, I don't really want to go get the manager, but maybe I'm going to go back, write a review, or I'm going to call customer service and say, hey, I had this poor experience and I just want to let you guys know. And so it's really focusing on, I can go in the store and I can interact with a brand that way. And depending on how that customer experience goes, fantastic, right? Or not so fantastic. Then I'll move to social media and interact with them over chat, over email, over the phone. So having those different means and those different avenues to interact with them too, me as a consumer, I love it. I love it. If you look on Amazon's website, they don't really have a phone number that you can call. You only ever chat with a specialist that helps you immediately. So they are the shining star. Obviously, Amazon's a behemoth, what they do, but you would never call Amazon. Like, you just never would do it. I don't even think, they don't have they don't have a phone number. I don't even know. I don't even know, because they're targeting me as a millennial and I just chat with a specialist.
Yes. Well, and like you said, though, it's true. And especially when you're looking at it from, when you said, though, as well as from the front line, especially in the in-store experience, because, we could talk all day long, especially about like the contact center experience. There's no greater feeling than when I call in and they're like, hey, Ashley, how are you doing today? I'm like, okay, wow, this is great. You already just start off on that, that positive energy. But, in a store, most often or not, unless you're you go in there every day or, every week, then you're going to have kind of that personalized experience. But I think, though, especially at the store is, we've done surveys before, and half the time it's people calling in to say, I can't find your store because people are too lazy to look on the store map of, okay, where are they, like, let's just say in the mall, where are you located?
That's fair. So fair.
But yeah, I'll be honest, I've done it, but that's half the time. So it's like, even with like a small IVR, you can create and say, I'm located in between, Macy's and Nordstrom, on level 1 is if you need directions, creating that. But it's, at the end of the day, though, you're wanting to create that experience, though, so that people aren't having to answer the phone to, tell them where the store is. They're either they're going to be wanting to interact with the people at the front, or they're going to be wanting to try to help somebody that is looking to purchase, because, that leads us into the second item is revenue growth. But I think where companies are falling short is they really don't know the voice of the customer from the store perspective in positive ways, because half of the time, the only way that they're getting that feedback, other than sometimes with surveys, is through Yelp reviews or Google reviews saying, I had this horrible experience, this person was horrible, it's all skewed. So you don't know, like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, what are they doing well? So it's, there's right now with AI, which I know we'll get into that a little bit
I think
later.
we
So,
jump into it now. You made the comment
okay.
around, yeah, you made the comment around just calling in to figure out where that store is. I couldn't imagine an agent or an in-store person actually getting on the phone and doing that and trying to navigate someone through, but I could imagine a bot doing that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's true. And especially even when we look at it though from the store perspective is, there's right now a provider that's really focusing on AI. How can we enable AI to really help organizations? You're not trying to take away the workforce, you're trying to help enable them to be that much more successful. And for example, is right now is you don't have the analytics of what people are calling in on. The only thing that you have is call recording, but people aren't going to want to have to call in to see what exactly was going on. So hey, wouldn't it be nice if we could actually look at the keywords? Is like, okay, why is this product being returned so many times, or why
Yeah.
is at this one store manager escalation happening 10 times a week?
Yeah.
So then you're able to get in front of it, and being able to really pull together what's going on, or even analyze too is these high performing stores. What does that call volume look like? Why are
Mm-hmm.
people calling in? Are these store or are these agents at the store, are they doing a great job of upselling?
Yeah.
Or obviously sometimes that's more like in-person feedback, but
Yeah. Well, that goes to the third point about revenue growth, and everybody always wants to make money. And these retailers, they're all about
mm-hmm,
making money. And so you brought up a really good point around what does that experience look like either in the store or online, but taking a deeper dive into the actual analytics or the intent or what people are saying on the phones, what people are saying in stores, and how maybe an agent is upselling and cross-selling and being smarter around their conversations or giving recommendations, right? Like those Nordstrom stylists, like you can hire a Nordstrom
yeah.
stylist to come in and revamp your whole wardrobe. But like that sounds like a
Yeah.
fantastic idea for somebody that is not very, fashion forward. But I think also too, once you start to get an idea of what the consumer is buying and who they are, you can really start to look deeper into, okay, how do I upsell them these same shoes? I said it in the last podcast. I'll say it again for brands watching. I am a notorious purchaser of one of every color, girl. Let me tell, and all my friends are too. All my friends are too. And if a brand just knew that about me, they could get me so quickly. And they usually do from an in-store experience. But I think about other brands where, it's the little things inside of the store where you go up to the cash register and that person helping you goes, who were you helped by today? Did anyone help you today? And they're taking notes on that in-person experience too. And so
Mm-hmm,
I think from companies that are looking to make a digital transformation, right? Coming back to our 3 points is number one being that brand loyalty, that voice of the customer. Number two, really focusing on having different avenues and different channels, whether it's in store, online, to create conversations, really great ones, memorable moments, personalized moments with their
mm-hmm,
customers. And then third being making all the money that's being reaped from the benefits of the first two, right? Being able to
mm-hmm,
upsell, cross sell, being able to see the revenue generation behind that because you guys make transformations and understand that customer experience starts from the minute they go on your website or the minute they
mm-hmm,
walk into the store. Because if I have
mm-hmm.
a great experience with someone in a store, I'm probably going to go back on the website and order the same thing. Because again, that personal interaction I had, those never really go away. And when somebody acts very interested in what you're interested in, you hit it off, right? We all love
Mm-hmm.
talking about things that we like to other people. And
Yes.
so that first interaction that you have is so meaningful.
I agree, and I think you bring up such great points when you're talking about these meaningful interactions from start to finish. It's you have to ask yourself too is from a company perspective, how are you allowing these people to have a voice? Essentially, are they able to? What do those channels look like? And really being able to understand from the perspective of their organization, their demographics, because every
Hmm.
retailer is different. You have you have the Gen Zs of the world, you have the millennials, older generations of, wanting to, wanting to, interact in a certain way. They might not wanting to be getting these 100 text messages from you about all of the sales, but
Mhm.
it's the way that it's changing.
Yeah.
It started becoming more and more prominent. But I think though what you said though of the start to finish is how are you not only allowing your customers to, but how are you enabling your agents to? What if they do need help? Agent assist, for example, that's huge. Is they bring up an issue or if the customer brings up an issue, they have these answers right in front of them that they could help guide this conversation rather than having to look up or having to message somebody else or having to get a manager on, and taking up other resources
Mhm.
from helping other customers.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's a lot of space in retail to make these transitions, and I feel like we're starting to see companies move digitally, and everyone had to pivot during COVID, and now we're coming out
Mm-hmm.
of COVID, we're a couple years out, and so
Mm-hmm.
are these ways that they're doing having customer experiences now going to stay the same, right? Are we still going to have curbside pickup? Are we still going to have all of those different pieces? But how are they going
Mm-hmm.
to revolution? Oh my God, big word, revolutionize the way that we bring in things like AI to help, right? We focus on upsell, cross sell motions, but really, again, it's voice of the customer and brand loyalty that drives all of the retail space. So I thought this was a fantastic, Ashley. What
Mm-hmm.
vertical should we do next?
Oh, I'm thinking financial services. I think
I'm
financial
thinking.
services right now have also been in the limelight a lot, especially with customer experience and how can you
Hmm.
enhance. And a lot of times when you're calling in for financial services, it's some half the time it might be a little bit more of mundane tasks that the agents aren't really needing to do that you could maybe offload some of that to for faster results for customers.
Well, I'm excited because I have a lot of financial services stories. I'll talk about, my ways, the fact that I don't own a checkbook and I've never written a check, and I don't care because I'm a millennial. So I'm ready. Let's talk about financial services. I'm excited. Let's go next week.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you, Heather, so much for joining us today. And I look forward to our continued conversations. And let's explore financial services because I definitely feel like there's a lot to unpack there as well.
And again, from a customer perspective, if they need any help or need any resources, right, we're here to help. So please reach
Mm-hmm.
out to us. From a digital transformation perspective, we really want you to know you don't have to do this alone. You have a team of people that can help you. So fantastic. Well, thanks, Ashley. I
Awesome.
appreciate it.
Yes. Well, thank you, Heather.